Assalamu alaikum friends. We are here with another Matrix special episode. Today the focus of our talk is proxy terrorism, whether it exists in reality or is it something concocted or a mix of both. Just because Pakistan has been in the throes of conflict as well as terrorist violence for quite some time, the situation has changed a lot, but with the Afghan crisis after the withdrawal of the US troops and other foreign troops, the situation may take another turn for the worse as far as Pakistan is concerned, in the light of the new Cold War that seems to be underway after President Joe Biden's announcement that China represents an ascendant challenge to the US national interest. So whether that new war means deployment of some proxy terrorists, proxy politics as means of geopolitical ends. So that's a very interesting as well as intriguing aspect of global politics today, particularly when it comes to Pakistan. So for this, we have today with us an eminent personality, a former ambassador, who has been also in Afghanistan as well as in Turkey. We'll try to hear him out as to what he thinks about the role of proxy terror, proxy violence, and proxy organizations as part of geopolitical objectives. So we have with us Tariq Azizuddin Saab. Thank you very much for giving us time. Since we've been talking a lot about proxy terrorism, do we see this proxy terrorism as a reality or is it a concoction?
It's a very clear reality. There can be absolutely no doubt about it. We have evidences in the international domain which point to proxy terrorism. The Indian National Security Advisor has his video clips floating around on the social media in which he has said at a certain place that he has calculated that the terrorists in Pakistan have an annual budget of 1,200 crores and that he is willing to raise it up to 1,800 crores as long as he can get them to do what he wants them to do. And he did do it. That's one evidence of it. Second evidence of it is that I was a prisoner of the proxy terrorists for 97 days, 13 years ago. And I asked the head of the TTP of that time, Baitullah Mahsood, and I asked him, why are you doing all this? Why are you doing it? He says, look, I can tell you that it is our compulsion, but it's also another reason. I said, and what is that? He said, you are receiving vast amount of funds from a kafir United States, which you use to crush us, our movement. So then we are at liberty to receive funds from India, also a kafir India as you call them, and to counter your pressure, we will use those funds to hit you. So proxy terrorism, yes, on several other occasions, Ajit Doval, the Indian National Security Advisor, has referred to these TTP and how they perform. Khalid Mahsood, a cousin of Hakimullah Mahsood, was arrested by the United States CIA and handed over to Pakistan intelligence. And he spilled the beans because he was the go-between NDS and RAW on the Afghan side and the TTP on the Pakistan side. And he was carrying cash and he was bringing in target acquisitions, etc. for the TTP. So there can be no ambiguity about proxy terrorism.
During your detention when they had abducted you, when did you realize that they are actually acting as a proxy outfit and it's not just abduction for ransom?
As you know, when I was abducted, I was then ambassador of Pakistan in Kabul. And I had already been there 2 years. And I take pride in the fact that I go into details of whatever I do and try to do a complete and thorough job as far as I can help it. So I was aware of what was happening in my country, which was just 200 kilometers away from where I was sitting in Kabul. And I knew what was going on. I could hear things in Kabul. I had the advantage of Farsi and Pashto as my languages, so I could understand. I have sat in Afghan gatherings where such issues were openly discussed and revealed. So I knew about them. But since it was not my primary task in Kabul, I was gathering this information, but I was unable to do anything further about it because there were other people in the field who were doing it. And as I heard this information when I was in captivity, I got a chance to connect the dots when I had the opportunity of meeting Baitullah Mahsood and Hakimullah Mahsood. And when I discussed it with them, of course, it was as clear as crystal.
But you could connect the dots. The question is whether in those days the Pakistan government, the state institutions, were also able to connect the dots and conclude that this was a proxy terror outfit.
I have great respect and admiration for the state institutions which were dealing with this subject and which are dealing with this subject at this time and at that time. They know a lot more than what I knew. So I am absolutely confident that they knew what was happening, and they knowing something does not always mean that they can do something about it, because those who can do something about it are the decision-making level at the very highest level, and they have to be convinced. You can give them a piece of information and try and draw out a decision from them, but if they don't give that decision, then there seems to be inaction for people like you and me sitting in the public, but there are reasons for that inaction. Our state institutions are absolutely excellent, and it has been proven again more recently.
Thank you very much. Viewers, this much for the TTP as proxy terror group. As the ambassador has explained, that the state institutions had already figured out what they were up to, and that his abduction was just used as a ruse, as a means to possibly generate funds. So we are not going to this question whether the Pakistani state paid any ransom for the release of the ambassador, but the issue is very clear that Pakistan has been facing proxy terrorism for quite some time, and that the state institutions took quite a while to understand the nature of the threat that it was facing. And I think we are in a very fortunate position at the moment. A number of groups have been dismantled, disrupted, and we are hoping that Pakistani institutions are ready to cope with the challenges that may arise out of the new Cold War that is now getting underway, primarily between the United States and China, but I think states like Pakistan are also likely to feel the heat of that geopolitical conflict.